I'm your host, Down Low, and today I got a special guest, something that I've actually been waiting for forever, because I feel like we got some things to talk about.
Okay.
We got some history here, hold down the Spokane. My man, Dizzy Hippie, Dizzy Wright. Back in the day, you may have known as Dizzy D Flashy.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? Tremendous artist, tremendous father. Been watching his moves with that. And man, how you been?
Hey, blessed. Thank you for having me, brother.
Man, no, thank you for being here.
No doubt.
Because like I said, I'm just blessed to be following your journey. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, before we get to that though, tell the people where you from, man.
So I was originally born in Flint, Michigan, but I was raised in Las Vegas.
Raised in Las Vegas. What age did you get to Las Vegas?
When I was like 4 or 5.
About 4 or 5. And from there, your mother, right, being a promoter? Being a music promoter or just in the music business?
Yeah, just my mom. She did a lot of things in the music industry, yep.
And then did that kind of inspire you as a kid to be in the music industry, or was it just didn't give it much thought?
Nah, I think the first time I seen a kid interviewing somebody famous, I think I just mentioned to my mom that looked cool and I think I could do something like that, and she took that into consideration and like made some things happen.
Yeah. And she seemed to be pretty connected, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, she had some pull for sure.
Yeah. And was that mainly in Vegas or was that in different cities as well?
That was in different cities. My mom was like the youngest concert promoter from Flint, Michigan. And then she went on to work with a bunch of different groups, but one of the bigger groups that she worked with was Bone Thugs by working on being a tour manager for them. And then that just kind of got her into being a publicist and a manager and all kind of stuff. So
yeah, and I know you kind of mentioned this before. I mean, there's some stuff that you wanted to say because, you know, especially like in the Wikipedia, they're like, oh, Lazy Bone is, you know, Dizzy Wright's uncle. I mean, they're trying to make it seem like, you know, it's blood, but you said it's just straight out of family, you know, family business.
Yeah.
With your mother, her connection.
Yeah, my mom's and Lazy's connection was real close, like brother and sister. So it just kind of became family, like extended family. Yeah.
And as you got older, I'm sure that relationships came back around with Lazy Bone, and obviously you've had them featured on songs, stuff like that. So is that kind of, you built a relationship off that, or you feel like maybe you already had a strong relationship with Lazy Bone?
Yeah, we kind of built a relationship off that. Like, but I did songs with my Uncle Lay and them when I was like a little kid. You know, I got songs from when I was like 10 years old, and you know, I kick off the song and Lazy ends it. So I had records with him for a long time. Lazy just always really had love for the kids, really, the youth. He always wanted to see the young ones win, and he was just, you know, always there dishing out love and advice and shit like that. So I always enjoy being able to have somebody like that I could at least talk to when he was around.
I feel it. And as a kid, you started getting in interviews yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, just name a few people that you were able to interview. Wasn't Kobe Bryant you were able to meet, but you've interviewed some other big names.
Yeah, I interviewed like Nelly and the St. Lunatics, and like City High and Tyrese and Nate Dogg, and yeah, a few different people. We got to Roy Jones Jr.
And that's gotta be inspiring, just doing that right there. Who'd you look up to, like maybe musically as an artist? Did you look up to anybody that inspired you?
Like when I was growing up?
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of Bone, I think because they were just close.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I listened to a lot of them. I think that's why I kind of fell in love with like the harmonizing and the melodies and different things like that. And to being able to just convert from spiritual music to like street music and knowledgeable music. It's like, so kind of fell in love with the different aspects that they all brought to the game. You know what I'm saying? And being 5 of them, they all had solo projects and shit like that. So I kind of just branched off and like listened to a bunch of that. But it wasn't until I got a little older when I started expanding my horizon, listening to, you know, Pac and Jay-Z. And I think those were like the first two that really like kicked my hip hop journey off.
Yeah.
In a different way.
What age did you start, I guess, rapping, getting into hip hop, writing your first lyrics?
I wrote my first lyrics when I was about maybe maybe like 11 or 12.
Okay. Were you going by Dizzy D Flashy?
No, I was going by Lil Ronnie back then.
Lil Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you have other family members with you?
Yeah, my little brother KJ was also rapping with me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Mosky is a childhood friend, right?
Yes.
Was he also doing the music thing, or was he kind of just off being, you know, the homie and stuff like that?
Nah, I met Mosky my 11th grade year.
Okay.
So I met Mosky about, you know, maybe 5 years after all of this. I had like a whole music career before I even met Mosky.
Okay. And I guess, I mean, you went on to actually be signed with Blue Stars, right? The Pretty Ricky's label?
Yes, slightly.
Slightly?
Yeah, slightly. Spectacular from Pretty Ricky was my man's. And we all had like a little, we called it like the trap house, but really we was just trapping, trying to like get into the music industry and shit like that. But everybody did different things. It was like 5 or 6 of us that lived in that crib, and Spectacular lived in that crib as well. So yeah, there were some things that we thought we could make happen, and I thought that I'd be able to like carve out a little lane within that shit, and we was never able to make anything shake. So, you know, we just scrapped the whole process.
Y'all still talk to this day, or?
Yeah. Spectacular's my man. He's a good dude. He gracefully knew that like there was really nothing that he could do for me at the time, and then, you know, I knew that like I was still young and trying to figure it out, and I had kind of jumped the gun, so it was kind of like a quick learning experience.
Would you say you've gone through some hard times growing up as a kid? Because I know you said you moved in. Was this the same house at the young age? Did you have roommates, or were you by yourself when you moved out on your own into, I think maybe it was an apartment or something like that?
I was alone.
You was alone?
Yeah, when I first moved into my first apartment. Yeah, I was a senior in high school. I was alone though.
That's crazy. You say you're throwing parties.
Yeah, I was.
You was just making some money off those, huh?
Making a little dough on the side, and my 2 little weekends, and yeah, I was squeezing what I could.
Were you putting out any projects at that time?
Nah.
And then I know it's kind of a long story for you, but you know, talk about real quick, or you know, the YG performance, how you got hooked up, where Funk Volume ended up discovering you.
Oh, right. I got a text from my artist in the city. Pretty much I was just hungry, and he sent me a text and said he was opening for YG. So I really wanted to just see what he was doing that, you know, I could learn from, or what he was doing that I wasn't doing. So I popped up, and it was a competition, and YG was the special guest. So all the artists had on numbers and stuff like that, and I last minute just asked if I can jump into the competition, and they let me enter it or whatever. You know, I pulled up with my CD and everything in the car. I was bumping my shit on the way, but they let me jump in it, and they picked 2 artists from Vegas, and they went on to go to like maybe 4 or 5 other cities and pick 2 artists from all those cities, and then we all had to go to California, and then you know, we spent the week doing some like music industry type shit, and then there was like a competition at the end, and they gave us some beats to choose from. Everybody had to perform one of those songs, and then they chose a winner, 2 winners to perform their own songs. So
the beats that you had to choose from, were these like popular songs or something?
Nah, they was just like 3 of the judges were producers.
Oh,
that worked with Def Jam. So they gave us like 3 beats a piece, and you just had to choose one and write a record, and then you had to come perform it in the mall. You had to like learn it in like 2 days or something, your song. So some of the artists kind of dropped the ball because they couldn't remember their lines and shit, because it was you had to do it pretty quick. Well, they chose 2 winners, and then those 2 winners got to do an original song. And then that winner got a chance to sign with Def Jam.
You remember what original song you had for that performance?
I think I did a song called Top Notch Steez back then.
Okay. When did Soul Searching come out?
That's Soul Searching came out next, right after that. That was the project that I was trying to actually, so I dropped a Soul Searching and a Soul Searching Next Level. And the first Soul Searching came out in 2010.
Okay.
And yeah, that was like when I really started feeling like, all right.
Yeah, because I was checking that out, and I mean, do you feel like you already had a buzz at that time, or do you still think he was just trying to get it off the ground?
I had a slight buzz from like the different little competitions I was in, and the little things I was jumping in, and being on 106 and Park twice, and a couple of the little like accolades I had been able to gain up to that point. It gave me like some popularity, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I felt like there was a little buzz happening.
And during this time, were you trying to fully pursue music, or were you into sports or anything? Was there anything, did you even know what you were wanting to do at that time?
Yeah, when I dropped Soul Searching, I was, you know, I had printed up a bunch of CDs and shit, and like, so I was invested for sure.
Yeah. And then so is it Dame that ended up kind of just discovering your talents at that point?
Dame happened to be at that mall.
Okay.
Where the competition was at, yep.
And then would he run back to Hopsin or something like that and was like, I found this guy or whatnot, or how did that play out?
I'm not sure. I know that day he reached out to my managers at the time.
Okay.
And was kicking that funk volume shit. And I was laser focused on Def Jam though. You know, I wanted Def Jam to hear my music and what I was coming with. And yeah, I never got to play Def Jam my actual music because they had music prepared already. So I decided not to go that route and go a different route. But it wasn't until like a couple months later when Hopsin had went on his Raw tour, and the homies wanted me to check out what he had going on.
And then that's probably when you discovered Hopsin and the music he was putting out.
Yeah.
I mean, he has some kind of comedy type, you know, tracks. But still, yeah, I'm sure you could probably tell the lyrics. He was, you know, he still had capable lyrics. Was still a dope artist.
Oh yeah, I thought he was weird, but I thought he was super dope. And you know, the contacts and all that stuff was a little different for me. And I was coming with like a real slower, like poetic, you know, Tupac kind of feel to my shit. It wasn't as aggressive and hyped up as them. So I didn't really see the fit at first. But I definitely thought Hop and Swizz were both killers.
Yeah. And then so here you come in to the picture. How was the welcoming, you know, for you being a different type of music compared to what they were putting out?
It was all love.
Yeah.
It was all love from day one. I went and met with them before any music or anything. You know, I just went and just to see if like I could vibe with them. Like Dame wanted me to come over to his crib, and him and Swizz is his little brother, so they stayed together at the time. So, and they had the whole like Funk Volume merch set up in one of the rooms, and they was just kind of running like a little business, you know. That's where I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like inspired by that. But then I got to chill with Hop, and, you know, he was cool. He was, you know, he wasn't like the crazy version that you saw on YouTube. He was like a normal musician that was like passionate about his shit. But I could tell he was a little more conservative. So, you know, that was just kind of like our introduction.
And then at that time, they were doing a lot of kind of do-it-yourself type music videos and stuff like that. I'm sure you were probably already in that process. So were they kind of pushing that on you as well? It's like, we do everything ourselves around here, or you know, how did the creative process around there?
Nah, they never pushed anything on me.
No. And then so you come in. I'm imagine you being, you know, weed smoker, DJ Hoppa being a weed smoker.
Yeah.
So y'all bond is probably fairly getting close, you know. And you guys go on to release some projects together. What was your first project that you and DJ Hoppa had? You remember?
Well, the only project that me and DJ Hoppa ever did was Dizzyland.
Okay.
But DJ Hoppa was, he produced records on my first album,
Okay.
Smokeout Conversations. Yeah.
So speaking of that, I think that was a very dope era with the Smokeout Conversations, because I remember, you know, Hopsin already had All Eyes on Him with the Funk Volume, and a lot of people were wanting to see him and N9ne and all this stuff at that time. And then here you come, which is, you know, a whole new flavor to the Funk Volume. And I myself, I was putting out projects, but I remember I was like, you know, I'd seen this girl post one of your songs on Facebook, and I'd already was like, already on top of your music. So without really asking, you know, anybody else if they had heard you, I was like, you know, I'm booking Dizzy Wright. I'm booking them. So then we brought you here to the at this time, actually the venue's closed down now, but on the Smokeout Conversations tour, real dope show. Because at that time, I was taking a chance. I didn't know, like, if anyone knew you. It was just pretty much all off of, like, I think he's dope. I know he's with Hopsin. Maybe people will come out because he's with Hopsin, you know. But I was trying to tell people, like, look, check out the music, you know, like, he's dope.
Word.
And funny story. Well, not really funny, serious. But later that night, DJ Hoppa ended up getting his laptop stolen. You remember that?
Yeah. I do remember that.
And I remember at the time, you know, I think it was, you had the tour manager on there and all that, and they'd hit me up, and it was like, man, we got to keep it moving, but we need that laptop back. And so I went and met up with the, you know, I don't even know him, but I really wanted to whoop his ass, but I was like, nah, we got to be civil to get this laptop back, you know. So we ended up getting the laptop back, needless to say, and y'all let me come out to Seattle and open up.
We did.
Out there. So that was a dope experience. And I mean, I don't know, man. He was just sleeping in the hotel or something, and then some people was over, and you know, you guys were kind of just hanging out.
Yeah, it was my first tour. I just got in the game. I was like, you know, the fan love and all that was new to me, so I was just kind of embracing it and just kicking it with the fans and like feeding off the energy. And we had a little after party, and you know, this is when, you know, if a shorty and if 3 girls popped up and 2 niggas was with them, we wasn't really tripping. We like, you know, it is what it is. We smoking, and yeah, somebody stole Hoppa's laptop. I'm glad though that you came in and got that though.
Oh yeah,
cause we went to go get that laptop back, and we had a whole different type of vibe going to get that laptop back. I can assure you that. I had just gotten the game, so this shit was fresh to me, Jack. I was like, you know, somebody stealing the laptop was just crazy to me. But it also, like, you know, it made me realize that, you know, all love ain't real love, and I had to, like, you know, learn the ropes of this, like, the difference between like fame and popularity, and how people would try to, cause he stole that laptop thinking that was my laptop. I always thought that was deep. That kind of cut me deep, cause I'm like, damn, I showed you love and you stole that purposely thinking that was mine. Not knowing that that's my homies, but you wanted to take that from me. That kind of cut me deep a little bit, cause I'm like, you know, I don't never put myself around motherfuckers to be, you know, like devious like that. So that
and I'm sorry you had to go through that, especially here, man.
Oh, it's
because
all good.
You
it's
know, we got love for you here, man.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. I always came back though.
Yeah.
It's always been love, and no matter what, like. I remember posting about it, and you know, motherfuckers out here was pissed. They wanted to know who he was.
Like I said, when I met up with dude, I didn't know what to expect, but I was like, man, should I put hands on him, or should I just be civil and get this laptop? Because that's the mission right now.
That was the mission, man.
You know?
You accomplished the mission. We avoided the police and all fines or money issues, whatever. Like we avoided it all. So yeah, that was a moment in time, a big learning curve for me too, though. Yeah, hell yeah.
And so obviously after that, by the way, Solo Dolo, you know, all those, like I said, that was a classic project right there.
Thank you.
Classic. And even till this day when you perform it, you can see everyone just, once some songs come on, everybody's jumping. But from there, your career starts to progress, and you actually become the XXL freshman. You know, become one of the part of the roster on that magazine. What did that mean to you, as far as, you know, because you know that's kind of a big deal in a sense. In the hip hop, everyone wants to be, you know, part of that that roster from that magazine. You know, we no longer have the Source type days or nothing like that. So that's kind of what everyone's looking at right now. Did that mean anything to you at that time?
It meant everything to me at the time. I know it's a little different now, but back then, yeah. You know, I was doing it. I was doing it for me, for Dizzy Wright, but I was also doing it for Funk Volume. Like I believed in the independent label that we was building at the time, and I wanted to continue to add to the legacy that Hop was creating. And him being a XXL freshman a year before, I wanted to follow that up and keep it going. Like, you know, represent for the squad. And I felt like Jaren was right behind me, which he ended up becoming a XXL freshman as well. So I felt like we was on the road, and like that was really my main motivation, is just to really follow up like you know, the legacy that I felt like Hop was creating.
And who was Joey Badass on that one? Yeah. And because you guys ended up having a track, Maintain. Yeah. Another one of my favorites.
Love.
And I mean, you actually go on to have tracks with some big names: Big Crit, Logic, N9ne. You know, so you know, I don't see you as big on the features nowadays, but you know, you do for one good one, and it always comes out legit whenever you do. So I know you had Problem, this last project, which was a dope song. So you guys are just pretty much doing it at this point. I know you were saying you're kind of getting like a lot of Juggalo fans, kind of just through the whole Hopsin thing, and you know, but one thing I respect about you is you stay consistent, like with your own lane and your own music. Even when I go back to like your first project, Soul Search and everything, really nothing has changed. Like you still bring the same vibe. You know, I was just telling Demrick too, I was like, you got some artists that just stay true to themselves and don't try to jump off track. And, you know, maybe it works for some, but not everybody, you know.
Right.
And so obviously you being in the weed game, I'm sure the Wiz Khalifa comparisons and all that was probably coming strong. But then you linked up with Demrick, and I felt that also was a good combo, you know, because now he's talking about weed and all this. And I know at that time with Hopsin, Don't Smoke and all that, he was coming out kind of degrading the whole thing. But so how was the tours like, you know, when you guys just wanted to smoke? And was Hopsin kind of just doing his own thing, or was he just like, man, why y'all smoking, or any pressure from that?
Yeah, no, there was a couple times where like I would smoke out the backstage or something and irritate Hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I always looked at it like I was like the little brother, little annoying little brother that smoked weed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Couldn't really get rid of me. Like I was just there, you know what I mean? I didn't really trip off that type of shit. I was smoking the weed. Like so I was getting high. But it was never no issues though, and I learned to just be respectful and try not to like step on anybody's toes or cross boundaries that were like too far, you know. So I just always told the fellas to express themselves with me, and I would express myself with them. But I'm pretty low maintenance. I just kind of keep it cool. I just, you know, weed is a part of my whole existence. I think that like in the beginning, I just don't think they realized what a real stoner looked like at first. And I think that Hoppa had to, like, I don't know how Hoppa did it before I came around. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I figure.
You know, he tell me stories about it, and I'm like, that sounds crazy, bro. I'm like, but ever since I came around, you know, I was around like active stoners, like people who smoke weed all day, but you know, had to get shit done. It was no other option. So that was the mentality I came in with. So I feel like long as I wasn't slowing nobody down, it was all love. But you know, I mean, if you ask them, I'm pretty sure I irritated them a lot with the weed smoke.
And like Swizzle and them didn't really do much of that?
Nah.
What was I mean, from your point of view, how come you don't think we heard much from Swizzle?
I just think it was a personal thing.
Yeah.
I think that you know, I just think for him it was just, I don't know. I think it's, you have a love for something, but to get out there and get in front of people and like make them believe in it and do all the extra shit, I'm not really sure if that's always what Swizz wanted or what he was comfortable with. But he always created.
And he was dope when he
always had amazing shit he was sitting on. It's just putting it out there and making, you know, motherfuckers believe in him. I think that was something that I don't know if he was sure that he wanted to do, you know, back then. But I wouldn't be able to tell you. I can only go off of like just being around.
And then you and Logic, man, you guys are kind of shouting each other out on tracks and stuff. Y'all still got a cool relationship in the music?
Yeah. Logic is still my guy.
And you've been checking out some of what he did the Ice Cube cover and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been seeing some of the new stuff. Yeah,
he getting kind of a fool with it.
Yeah, it looks like he's finally said fuck what everybody's thinking.
Yeah,
and he's having fun.
Because I know for a moment, I think he said he was going to retire or something, but that didn't really, like most rappers, that don't last long.
Yeah, I think you just want to, I think most of the time it's like you just want to retire from the bullshit for a little while. Maybe retire from all the opinions that you've allowed yourself to, like, consume.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to just tap out of that. So I think you want to retire to like completely get away from it. But, you know, sometimes you can retire from it and get back into it.
Because I feel like you've been pretty consistent. You ever had ideas of just stepping away? Or do you feel like this is a good journey so far, we're just going to keep going?
You know, like in hip hop, sometimes I see where hip hop is going. I see how they push the agenda of hip hop. And sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm really a part of this shit. Like, because sometimes I see hip hop as the problem. And I feel a part of the problem sometimes. Even though I'm not contributing to it, I'm just a part of it. You know what I mean? It's like guilty by association.
Yeah.
So that's really the only time when I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, this shit kind of weird. But, you know, most of the time I try to like convert that energy and be like, as long as I put out my positive energy and try to like shift the world the way that I can, in the best way that I can, I mean, that's really all I can contribute to this life. Like, so not being caught up too much in like how everybody else is shifting the world and just be focused more on myself.
And you guys went on to get with Warner Brothers kind of during the whole fallout. I heard not everyone was kind of on the same page. Is that true?
It was before the fallout.
Oh, okay.
And we were all on the same page. I just don't think that we were No, I guess we maybe weren't all on the same page.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I mean, it seemed to be like this person had their opinion on it, and this person had it, and then Dame had his version, and then everyone was just like, you know. And obviously, Hopsin addressed some of it in the song as well.
Well, there was one version of what it was, and then there's everybody else's version.
Yeah, right.
It was just a distribution deal. That's the one version. If we had signed with Warner, we would have got more out of them. And I think that back then, we kind of felt like we were signing a distribution deal with somebody, and that was a step for us.
Yeah.
So we wanted them to step for us. And they didn't. They were just distributing it. So
was that all over by the time you guys had the Fallout as a label, or did that kind of just drop during the Fallout as well? That partnership?
No, they distributed a project for me and Hop.
You and Hop, and then was that it? Or
and that was it. Yeah.
That was it. Okay,
that was the growing process. The last project I did with Funk Volume before it dismantled.
Okay, and then pretty much from there, you go on to still moving and creating your own lane. So was Demrick ever? Was that a label, or was that just a kind of movement?
Yeah, Still Moving is still going to be a label.
Okay.
Yep.
And then was Demrick a part of that, or was he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then so you had Demrick, Still Moving, and you guys end up just going on putting out projects and touring together. So it seems. But you created a strain in the marijuana, Dizzy OG. Talk about that.
Dizzy OG came around in 2014, I believe so. That's about a year and a half before the Funk Volume shit dismantled.
Okay.
And yeah, it was, and it still is. It's going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just got my hands on a dope ass cultivation who fucked with me and I fucked with them, and we've been able to grow with each other. Shout out to Crown Genetics. They've been growing the Dizzy OG now for almost 10 years.
10 years. And you guys had the store too, right? And he ended up kind of going away. Did you move it, or did the store ever come back?
The Still Moving store?
Yeah, the Still Moving.
No, not Chat. No, but I did open a clothing store in Vegas, and yeah, I would still have the store open, to be honest. Like, I was just a little iffy about the whole pandemic situation.
Okay.
And the lease agreement that they wanted me to agree to didn't seem logical at the time, because I didn't know when the world was going to open back up. And because of George Floyd, they were like protesting and rioting and looting and stuff like that. So we ended up taking everything out of the store, and that was right around the time where we needed to renew the lease. So it was like we had to make a tough decision. Yeah. But I am gonna bring the store back bigger and better. It's gonna
That's
be
like
fire.
a Nipsey Hussle move right there.
Yeah. It was dope. I had it open for 3 years before the pandemic. We was doing meet and greets there, listening parties, album releases, carrying local brands, merchandise by independent rappers, and it was cool. We're building a little culture in Vegas.
And I was glad I was able to at least visit it. I wasn't able to go inside, but visit it before that went down. Any other moves at that time? Because I know COVID hit. How was COVID like for you as an artist? During that time, everyone's got their own stories, but what was Dizzy doing during the COVID?
I was just with the kids. Yeah, I was just really with the kids, posted up. We played a lot of basketball and locked in. But it was a little weird seeing all my plans unfold the way that they did. And I don't know. I guess I was just on high alert. I was like in protection mode during COVID. I kept thinking to myself, if they keep clearing the grocery stores out and all this shit, eventually motherfuckers gonna come looking for shit. That they can't find in the stores.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I was nice and ready just in case some shit popped off, so I could take care of my family. So I felt like I spent the pandemic by the window like Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was just with the kids, taking care of the kids.
And you don't eat meat, right?
I prefer not to eat meat. I don't eat no red meat, but
okay.
Yeah, I prefer not to eat meat.
And when did that all start, or have you always been like that? 2017. Yeah. Okay. And so to rewind back actually a little bit, you went on tour with N9ne.
Yeah.
I know there's some strict policies and rules that come with that. But also with that, I wanted to know, like, did that help you with your independent game as far as what you learned on that tour, if you learned anything, you know, with how N9ne and Strange Music and Travis run their business? Did you take any of that and kind of like, all right, when I go on tour, I'm taking this and this, and this is what I'm going to insert into when I do tours and stuff like that?
Nah, not really. Like, if anything, I was more inspired by like N9ne himself on the way that he operated and the way he moved and what he gave his show every night.
Yeah.
So his level of commitment every night after all of these years and all of these shows, and how strategic it all is and how set up it all is, and it was just, I admired it. Like, to be able to see it up close every single night. I took the most away from him, just to remind me to just do what I want to do, what I love to do, so I can show up and always be enthusiastic about it, you know, because it's never a dull moment with him when he's on stage, because he loves what he does. As far as the rules and stuff like that, it was a little tougher for me. You know, some of the rules I felt like were excessive a little bit, but I get why they run it that way.
Yeah.
You know, that's how they keep their ship running, and that's how they've been able to be the biggest and last the longest, you know, with the structure that they were able to create. So I respect it. You know, for me, it was just like going to venues that I had previously headlined, that know me and wanted to put me in safe smoking places, and Strange Music was making that a little difficult. To be safe and be a stoner. So I had a problem with that. But other than that, it was definitely a dope tour, and there's a lot to take from an OG like N9ne, who shows up and shows out every day. Yeah.
I would imagine, because I know sometimes he's got, you know, he'll have a roster of artists, and, you know, he'll go on tour, and I know usually he's throwing his artists on there, but sometimes the artists you think are going to go on tour with him don't go on tour with him.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's like, man, we ain't trying to be, you know, on those strict policies. We just want to go do our thing. Because I know Mr. Fab, he came out and he's like, yeah, I couldn't do it. He goes, I can never do it. Go on tour with N9ne. He goes, they be, and I've done shows with Fab, so I kind of know what he means, you know.
No, it was definitely, I mean, they're not shy about it though.
Yeah.
They're very militant, you know, and it's, from day one, it's all very, very militant. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have like no desires to, like, you know, be a stoner on the road with them, I think you straight. You'll be fine. You know what I mean?
So obviously Funk Volume, everyone's split up, everyone's out doing their thing, but you, Jaron Benson, you know, obviously back on this tour right here. Has it been a while since you two have been on tour, or have you guys been on tour anytime since the split?
No, yeah, it's been 8 years.
It's been 8 years. And I mean, how you feel about this tour so far?
I'm loving it. We ain't skip a beat. It's like, you know, Jaron's forever young. You feel me? Like, so it's been fun. It's actually, you know, I can just feel the old and the new energy mixing, and it feels nice.
And the cool thing is, I was able to book you last tour. In a sense, it was almost like an anniversary. Right. Because how many years was it? It was maybe like, I want to say, it'd been some years. And so, because obviously since Smoke Out Conversations tour. Fast forward to now, but we were able to do your first sold out show on that last tour. So definitely seen Spokane step up in your support, you know. So I think tonight's going to be dope as well, you know.
I'm looking forward to it.
And so you got the new album out. It was live at Mac Daddy's.
Live at Daddy Mac's.
Live at Daddy Mac's. And I went out and grabbed the CD because I'm an old school cat like that.
Right on.
So I went and got the CD. And you realize, you know, I drive an old school whip, and the quality difference in the CD between Bluetooth MP3 or something like that, it just hits so much different. Are you still a fan of the old merchandise, or do you just kind of know that that's what some fans still want, so you just kind of print it up anyway?
Nah, I mean, I'm still a fan. Like, I know that the times have changed. Like, they don't make cars with CD players no more, so you gotta like, where they gonna play it now if they ain't got something that can play it? So, but nah, I still feel like it's it's something tangible that they can like hold on to and keep as a collector's item or whenever, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? Like, vinyl's kind of made a little comeback. You start seeing vinyl machines and stuff around these different stores and stuff, and that wasn't around for a long time. So,
are you into these NFTs and the new age stuff?
No, I never got into the NFTs and stuff.
Yeah, I can't.
Harder for me if I can't touch it.
So, like I said, you got Problem on this new project.
Word.
Who else you got on the project?
TD Banks. So I did
Banks.
a open verse challenge, and the winner got a chance to be on my my album. And TD Banks.
Any plans on the future of doing that again?
Yeah, hell yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, because I know like Joyner Lucas has been big on that, and some people were wondering like, are these scams or whatever they're doing? But then he put them on the remix. I think he had like actually a hand collection of artists that he did on the remix. So you start to see more artists kind of do that now. So I think that was dope. And the beats, you got Mike and Keys on here. And I knew when you came out and announced that I was like, I think that was going to hit.
Right on.
And sure enough, it did. Because I used to produce for Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
And they didn't come at you with the Nipsey Hussle beats. They came at you with, you know, beats that they knew you would like. So, I mean, how you feel about the project so far? Like, is it you... Or let me ask you this. What's your favorite project you've put out so far?
I think Live at Daddy Mac's is my most cohesive project that I've dropped. It flows the best. I think the repeat value on the new album is top tier for me. Mike and Keys just, and you know what it is that like Mike really played a lot of beats and stuff, but the more groovy, older sounding beats is what stuck out to me. But when he told me that those were kind of the beats that nobody could rap on or nobody was rapping on when he played the beats, I'm like, well, shit, them the ones I want.
Right.
Like, I want the shit that can't nobody, people that the rappers are having a hard time rapping to. That's the shit that I want, especially if it's groovy and shit, because it feels like an untapped lane. And I'm super I'm not inspired by the new wave of music like how I was back in the day when I was inspired by, you know, Cole and Kendrick and Big Crit and these cats when they was coming up, and Currency and Nip and all these different versions of music that you was catching, like that was inspiring me. I'm not really inspired like that anymore. So being able to find a different little sound was good for my spirit as well. So I really enjoy this new project. But every project is just my state of mind of that age that I was at that time. That's why I usually say my age in a lot of my albums, so you kind of know where I was at. Wow. Like, you know, if I had my daughter at 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? So really, I spent my whole 20s with my daughter and like having a kid. So it's just like a young pappy.
Yeah.
It's just like a young pappy, you know what I'm saying, and just getting my experiences. So I never really tried to be too cohesive, or sometimes there was records where motherfuckers would be like, you know, I feel like it could go without this. And I'm like, but then where does this message come from?
Yeah.
I'm like, how do they get this message if this song isn't on there? So I'm like, that makes no sense to take this off, because now I gotta give them this message a different kind of way. I'm putting that shit on there, right? Like, and that was kind of my mindset with the shit. But if I would have took it off, it might have made my project flow a little better. So, yeah.
Oh, I love the vibe of it too. You know, that's kind of, with your music, that's one thing I love. You know, it's the vibe that you kind of. And you know, of course, you got some smoker joints, but you also got them up tempo club type tracks to get people kind of moving, you know. And I'm sure, even just listening to you today, you know, getting on stage, just even doing the pre-show, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see when the crowd they gonna love this.
Oh yeah, the set definitely feels a lot better, and I can do all that. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like a real artist that musically can bring a lot to the game. And it's going to get better. It's going to continue to get better. Mike and Keys really opening the door for me to be able to shine my light. You know what I'm saying? They've been shining their light. You know, they've been showing people what they're capable of, and they've been rewarded for that, you know, with plaques and platinum records and gold records. And, you know, with everything that I've been able to accomplish, I haven't been able to get a gold record. So I feel like I'm awfully close.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to give myself a chance to be rewarded musically in some of these different ways that I know I can strive for, you know.
And I definitely feel that with this project. Like I said, when I heard you were doing the project with Mike and Keys, I was like, yeah, this is the move. I could definitely feel that. I know you say you always think ahead. You're always kind of ahead with your moves. So, I mean, you don't have to really give out any exclusive news, but you know what's next.
Yeah, I got 2 projects that I'm working on. Yeah, I'm gonna musically just be active.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Last year I got real quiet after Disneyland, because I was kind of doing my 10-year anniversary thing. And in these times, it's not good to get quiet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But also, if you come back out swinging after being quiet, you know, you can make up for the quiet time with some hard work. So that's pretty much what I'm on, is coming back swinging with the music and visually just being active, and, you know, just staying locked in with my fans and finding new ways to grow this shit, but really getting back outside and showing the fans that, like, you know, I'm still putting on one of the best shows, and it's only gonna grow from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did COVID boost any of that inspiration to come out even harder, or did you just still have that same inspiration?
Nah, I've always had the inspiration. COVID really boosted me to just slow down it and do some inward work. You know what I'm saying? Figure out a little more about myself, a little more about my own history that I realized that I didn't know, and just tap back in. Find some culture within my reality, you know, instead of trying to go out and find the culture to be a part of, and just see what culture, you know, maybe we've been taken from, and how we can tap back in and find ways to mix that into what I got going on.
And just quickly, Moski. He hasn't really quite been with you on these last couple runs. Is that just a breakaway from the music, or has he got things going on himself?
Yeah, Moski's you know, Moski's a family man as well.
Okay.
And he has 3 beautiful kids, and I think Moski just wanted to take some time to you know, build out things for himself, you know. And the road is always here for him. You know what I mean? And he's already been in the trenches for a long time.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that Moski felt supported in all his moves and anything that he wanted to do. But Moski really just walking his own path. He just doing exactly what we talk about. You know what I'm saying? Being your own person and finding your own space in this lifetime.
And same goes for DJ Hoppa, who's kind of took us, you know, doing his own thing while you're out here doing shows.
Yeah.
Different DJs and stuff like that.
Yep.
So you guys going to reconnect on that level?
Of course. Same with Hoppa. Hoppa, shout out to Broken Complex. Hoppa's building his empire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's building out his empire, and he's tapped in. He's locked in. He's not just DJ Hoppa no more. Now he's wearing multiple hats.
Yeah.
And so it's always love between me and Hoppa. We always gonna make music. We'll always be able to get back out here on the road and do all of that. You know, I think that all of us are just walking our own paths, you know, and we'll meet at that point, you know what I'm saying? But for the meantime, I think that everybody had to find their own path.
Well, that's cool. You got Jaron Benton on this tour. I'm sure the fans are happy to see at least that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I mean, just before you go, though, you know, any inspiring words to the independent artists that's kind of looking to be on the same type of grind and seeing how you've done it independently, still moving, you know, anything you could tell them to keep them going, keep them motivated?
Yeah, I would just say follow your gut, take chances. And follow your gut and take chances. That's what I would tell you. That's what's on my heart right now, because I feel like sometimes we question our moves, and because it might be the people around us that, you know, make us feel like those moves feel crazy. And you trust your gut. Sometimes you can see it more than they can see it, and you gotta trust yourself more than somebody who can't see it. Don't let a blind man lead you, you know what I'm saying? And use your eyes and take those chances. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like you're jumping off a building, you don't know, you know what I mean? You don't know if your leg's gonna break, but hey, when you hit the ground, you better roll. Try to survive, nigga.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's what Demrick said. He says, you know, it's better for the slow grind than no grind. You know?
I agree with that 100%.
And, you know,
build off small wins, you know what I'm saying? It don't got to be all big wins. If you're only waiting for big wins if you only allow the big wins to motivate you or get you moving, you're in trouble. Build off the small wins. That's how you get to the promised land.
Well, I don't want to hold you any longer. I know you got a show to get to.
Man, thank you for having me.
It gets greater later.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's a dope concept for the tour, and it really shows it does get greater later. And I'm sure you still got a whole lot more ahead of you. You're real consistent. You bring the merch. A lot of artists still don't even bring merch to the shows. It's beyond me how they don't do that. But, you know, that shows why you're successful. So I appreciate you for coming on the show. You want to get the fans your social media links where they can catch you at?
Yeah. YouTube/Dizzy Wright for the music. Dizzy Wright, Wright with a W, on all streaming platforms. Twitter, Dizzy Wright. Instagram is Dizzy Hippie with a Y. Tap in with me on Instagram. I'm probably the most active on Instagram, but I'm on Twitter, Facebook, everything, man. Holla at Chiguala. I'm never too far.
And I do see that you're very active, interacting with the fans and stuff like that. So that's dope. Well, I'm your host, Down Low. Catch us Grind 365, the podcast. Subscribe. You know what it is. Thank you, Dizzy, man.
Appreciate you, family.
We out.